What's up? It's George the Fragrance Apprentice, and a couple of weeks ago I was in Los Angeles and I was shooting top 10 hidden gems for Jeremy Fragrance, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed shooting it. It was one of my favourite videos that we did together, and as he was doing it I thought, I would like to do this video. I would like to do I'd love to do a hidden gems video and showcase some fragrances that I feel deserve a lot more recognition. Fragrances that I personally enjoy, but may not necessarily get the recognition that they so rightfully deserve. So these fragrances are, some of them you will have heard of, some of them you will maybe not have heard of, or you might have heard me speaking about them, but these are fragrances that I genuinely feel deserve your attention, deserve for you to explore, and I'm going to try my best to briefly explain why with each fragrance. I have an honourable mention. It is this is Eau de Michon's Le COUVENT de MINIMES. Why is it an honourable mention? It's very difficult to get in North America, United States, Canada. Very, very difficult. But if you're in Europe, and especially if you live in the UK, this is like £20 for 250 milliliter. And if you love vanilla fragrances, just get it. It's one of the safest blind buys ever of all time. Especially if you like vanilla, especially if you like Spiritueuse Double Vanille or Fève Délicieuse. Incredible vanilla fragrance. And I've got a lovely review of it that you can go and watch right now. I'll put a card up so that you can go and check that out. So let's get to number 10. My 10th hidden gem is a fragrance that I've personally been going on and on about. It's a fragrance that I really, really dearly love and still hasn't quite caught up to everybody else, but I am going to continue to talk about it, and I'm not going to stop. It's Hugo Boss, the scent Absolute. As you can see, I've used quite a bit of this, considering especially that I've got nearly 200, I think maybe even over 200 now fragrances. I've put a considerable dent in it when you consider all that. Fantastic, beautiful designer fragrance, and it has a lot of the designer sugary elements, icing sugary elements of designer fragrances like Invictus, like 1 Million, those Paco Rabanne style fragrances, but it has a lovely little bit of vetiver, some good woods, and some really good vanilla rounded sweetness, and this is great for nightclubs, it's great for going out. Absolutely wonderful. I've got a review on that also that you can go and watch. Number 9. This wasn't a hidden gem once upon a time. Once upon a time this was a fragrance that people really, really enjoyed, but I think it's still relevant. I think it's still pretty good. This is Black by Kenneth Cole. It's always been a difficult one because this does not smell black at all. In fact, it smells white, it smells bright, it smells light. I should write a Dr. Seuss book with all of those rhymes. It's got orange, ginger, and a little bit of neroli citrus, and so it's very lovely. So it's quite synthetic, but I still wear it, and it's got a lovely, lovely mandarin orange note, and that is the least synthetic part of this fragrance, and it freshens you up, certainly freshens you up, and can smell very good and is lovely, especially in the springtime. And for those of you who enjoy cheap fragrances that don't cost the end of the earth, I would recommend that. Number 8 is from the house of Trussardi. This is the red. The only chap who has really been into this and who has talked about this is my good friend Chad from A Gentleman's Journey. This, to me, if you're aware, smells like cherry bakewells, if you know what those are. Those are a very, very British type of little cake that we have, these mini cakes, and they have icing sugar, they have vanilla, and they have a cherry, and they have a cherry tart within them, and this smells like a really, really nice cherry bakewell fragrance, even with the warm doughy pastry around it. It's quite something, really, and it's probably the best thing that Trussardi have ever released, in my humble opinion, but it's great, and I'd totally check it out. This next fragrance, you'll have to excuse me because it's quite a mouthful. This is Extrait d'Atelier, and this is Matière Jardinière, which is basically garden. And this is a very, very calming, zen, green citrus that can remind you of being in a garden, sipping lemonade, or maybe even one of those green teas that's infused with lemon. Very, very calming, very zen fragrance that will chill you out, that will give you a very relaxed vibe in front of people. It's beautiful in that way. I did an indie spotlight on this fragrance. It's phenomenal, really, really lovely, relaxed, calming fragrance, and I will wear it if I want to start the day and if I want to start the vibe of the day very calm. Nobody's talking about this. Nobody is speaking about this. So if you were to get this, then I can assure you you'd be smelling very unique and very calm. So, number 6 is HAPPYLAND CUIR Cafe, the cream coffee cake of the fragrance world, the coffee cream cake of the fragrance world. Absolutely wonderful fragrance that I wore a ridiculous amount in the autumn months and in the winter. It's just such a basic, straightforward premise. You've got the coffee, you've got the cream, you've got the leather that's infused in here, and it's beautiful, and I would highly, highly recommend that you would check it out. But it's not the most underrated HAPPYLAND fragrance, but we'll come to that in a little bit. Number 5 is Dignified from the House of SILAGE. Incredible. Oh my goodness, especially if you're... I'm surprised that Jeremy has not spoken about this or spoken about House of SILAGE in general. They should be very up his street. They're quite wild. Their presentation is bombastic. Their fragrances are strong. They're long-lasting. They're complex. They're quite a house. They're a house that are really starting to come into the fragrance community right now, very slowly, but I do feel as though they soon will be a very, very big deal in the fragrance community. This is Dignified. This is a very, very dark vetiver fragrance with a lot of woods, with a lot of leather. If you're somebody who's into really dark and deep and intense and confident masculine fragrances, you have got to check this out. At least you've got to try this out. This is very, very business boss orientated in its fragrance style. It is truly, truly a beast, and the performance is something else as well. So I would totally recommend that. This is AMBRASER by JUS. This is number 4 on my list. Wow. Wow. There's so much to talk about with this. I'm not going to go full on because this needs a full tactful review. But this is unbelievable. This is an incredible oceanic... It's the most highest quality niche aquatic fragrance I have ever smelt. Well, that's not completely true because you have also James Healy. I don't want to forget about James Healy's Selma Rain. This has got that marine note with a lot of sugar, a lot of sweetness. This is the highest quality blue marine sweet fragrance ever. It's incredibly different, incredibly unique. I'm very, very aware that they give a lot of leeway artistically to the perfumiers who work for this company. They've got a lot of creative freedom, and you can tell with this, it's got a little bit of licorice, but it's also got this marine citrus, but it's also got some sweetness. It's a very wild, complicated fragrance, but it smells fucking good, and that's what's important. Number 3 is a bit cheeky. I don't have the bottle of this as of yet, but it's something I always love to go on about. This is The Chronic by the House of BYRON. I don't actually like having samples on my lists. I feel uncomfortable doing that, but this is a real hidden gem. This is really genuinely something that people need to talk about more. But this is an incredible fragrance, so long lasting, very, very sweet, but also very woody. It's got a lot going for it. You've got to think of those fragrances that you love, like Dolce & Gabbana The One, Pure Malt, Frapan 1270, those woody, sweet, fruity fragrances that have an equal balance of, sandalwood, cedarwood, the woodiness, but it also has this really nice sweetness, this fruity sweetness that's also in there. Those types of fragrances, this is truly the king of that genre. Absolutely impeccable, and I cannot wait to get a full bottle. Number 2, sorry to Neil, Mr. Miami Cuddles, this is going to piss him off, but who cares? I care about you, Neil, I do, but I'm going to have to pull this one out. This is Perry Ellis 360 Red. This is unfathomably brilliant. It's a fantastic compliment getter that's in the same league as Acqua di Gio Profumo. If you like that aromatic, aquatic, spicy fragrances that's in the same league as those, then this is something that you need to check out, and it's cheap. It is so bloody cheap. Versace Pour Homme, which of course is a fragrance that everybody goes on about these days. It's in the same realm as that. Versace Pour Homme, Acqua di Gio Profumo, maybe a little bit of Allure Homme Sport, but not too much. It's that compliment monster fragrance that everybody loves, but at an incredibly solid price, and not many people talk about it. You want to keep this one a secret. That's the truth. That's the honest truth. You don't want to go on about this one too much, because it really is an incredible fragrance. It's a wild presentation, but yes, incredible hidden gem. But what is my number 1 hidden gem? I've cheated a little bit, because this is a fragrance that has recently come out. This is a fragrance I cannot be bothered with you not knowing about it. Right? You need to know about this fragrance. You must. I've been wearing this for the past week, and I'm just like, look, this is a hidden gem, kind of by default, because it is very recent, but this whole house is a hidden gem. But this is their best release. This is the greatest release that they've done. I'm so excited and enthralled and proud. I'm proud of this gentleman, because he has been doing these fragrances, creating these fragrances, and with his last 3 releases, he's really hit the nail on the head. But this is his coup de grace. This is his masterpiece. This is the one where I'm like, fucking hell, EJ, you've smashed it out of the park. This is the biggest hidden gem in the fragrance community right now, and I hope that it goes wild. I hope that everybody talks about this fragrance. I hope that it becomes his hero fragrance, because I'm in love with it. It's from the House of Happyland. It is AMBERLAND. I'm trying to swear less on my videos these days, but fucking hell. Wow. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely. I mean, the thing that I love about this fragrance personally is I've been following the journey of this gentleman and following the journey of his fragrances, and it's kind of like been building and building and building and building, and then bam, we're at the peak. We're at the summit. Maybe there are more peaks to go. I don't want to jinx his journey, but for me personally, this is the greatest fragrance release that Happyland has ever done. It's similar, sort of akin to Ombre Nuit by Christian Dior, but like better. And I'll tell you why. Ombre Nuit is a little bit dirty. It's a little bit messy, and especially in that opening, it's a bit dirty and it's a bit loose. This one is compositionally a lot more sound, and there's just a real focus on his strengths. And EJ has got strengths as a perfumier, and one of his big strengths as a perfumier is that he can make fragrances that should be quite heady, quite light. So, say for example with CUIR Cafe, you've got leather and you've got coffee, 2 notes that are very, very intense and very deep and very dark. But he manages to make them light and kind of fluffy and quite aerated, and there's oxygen to breathe, even though you're in the middle and the depths of these very, very darker and heavier aroma chemicals. This is taking the best parts of amber, the best accords of amber. Of course, amber isn't really a thing, it's more just an accord, and he's using that technique that is sort of created for himself over the past few months of making things light. And so what you get is you get one of the most beautifully easy to wear ambers I've ever smelt, and it's quite an achievement and technical brilliance, and I've loved wearing it. I've, you know, smelt myself thinking, bloody hell, this is lovely. I've had some nice comments, you know, not too many comments because obviously freaking isolated. Good luck doing most complimented videos in this situation on the planet at the moment where you can't fucking go out anywhere. But I have personally really enjoyed it, and it's the absolute apex of what he's been trying to do, and well done, mate. I'm so proud, and I'm happy to give this the exposure that it rightfully deserves, and I'll be doing a review of this soon. But right now, this is the fragrance that people should absolutely look out for. It's phenomenal, and HAPPYLAND in general seems to be, you know, growing and growing, and his skill set is flourishing, and it's absolutely brilliant. So those are my top 10 hidden gems fragrances. Shout out to Jeremy Fragrance, of course. Thanks for letting me go to LA and you know, giving me this idea. And you know, I think that don't worry, I think that your video will still get a lot more views than this one will. But yes, thanks to everybody, and shout outs to everybody else. Anyway, hope that you're staying safe in this time of uncertainty, looking after yourself. I'm the Fragrance Apprentice, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.